Good morning. Jesus is Lord, and the Word is working mightily in you as you hear it, receive it, and act on it. Jesus said, He that hears the Word and does the Word. That means when you hear something and you act on it, He said that's like the man that digs a deep foundation. And when the storms come, the storm cannot shake it. But he that hears the word and does not do the word, that thinks, oh, this isn't that important. Oh, this is, no. When you hear the word and do the word, then it will build a deep foundation in your spiritual life. But if you don't, it says when the storms come, that it will demolish the house, and great is the fall of it. Yesterday I was talking about how Jesus set an example for us, and it tells us in 1 Peter 2 that He left us an example to follow, who when He was reviled, when people said ugly things to Him, He didn't turn and say them back to Him. And then we went into 1 Peter 3, where He was first of all talking to husbands and wives, and then He's speaking this as a truth. He said, finally, be ye all of one mind, having compassion one of another. Love as brethren. Be pitiful, be courteous, not rendering evil for evil, or railing for railing, but contrariwise blessing. Well, that word railing means to say something derogatory, to say an insult. When someone speaks an insult to you, then you don't return the insult back to them. When someone says something derogatory to you or about you, whether in your presence or behind your back, you don't defend yourself. The Lord is your defense. When someone says something that is a put down, and basically that's what they call bullying, is somebody just putting somebody else down. Well, Christians shouldn't be doing that because God says that we should love. So He says rather than doing that, so He says not rendering evil for evil or railing for railing, which is insult for insult or put down for put down. But rather than doing that, He says blessing, knowing this, that you are thereunto called to inherit a blessing. Okay, so what He's saying is, let's go back to where Jesus said, whatever you would that men should do to you, do you also to them. For this is the law and the prophets. There is a law of sowing and reaping. And so if you will sow a blessing, then what are you going to reap? You're going to reap a blessing. And you always have to think in your mind, do I want to reap this? What do I want to reap? Well, a farmer decides what he wants to harvest before he ever buys the seed. That's the first step to gardening or to farming, is what do I want to harvest this year? So do you want to harvest insults? Do you want to harvest people putting you down? Do you want to harvest people condemning you? Do you want to harvest people blaming you? See, Jesus took our blame. So we shouldn't receive blame, but we shouldn't put blame on others. We shouldn't condemn others. Jesus even said that. He said, condemn not, and you will not be condemned. Judge not, and you will not be judged. Forgive, and you shall be forgiven. It is a law. It is a law of sowing and reaping. So maybe you've been reaping where people have been putting you down, or people have been insulting you. Why? Look and see what you've been sowing. So, but you can always change, and change your harvest by changing the seed. So rather than when next time someone says something and you want to spout off something back to them and make it even harsher, then what you want to do is say, no, I just bless you in Jesus' name. I believe you're filled with the peace of God. I believe you're filled with the wisdom of God. And if you can't do that to their face, then what you can do is don't say anything. Remember, it said about Jesus that He was as a sheep before his shearers, that He opened not His mouth. Sometimes just stand there, don't open your mouth. Commit yourself to God as Father. You are my defense. You will take up for me, and you sow a blessing to them when you pray for them. Jesus said, pray for your enemies. Pray, bless them that curse you and despitefully use you. Pray for them, bless them. So if you want to start harvesting blessing, then start sowing blessing when you're tempted to do otherwise, when you're tempted to be in strife, when you're tempted to sow an insult to your spouse or to your children. No, don't do that. Use Jesus as your example. Walk in the Spirit. And one more note is, remember when Jesus was going to the cross, what did he say? Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. He knew that he could not have any unforgiveness in his heart. He was about to go into hell to destroy Satan for us. So out of his love, he said, Father, forgive them. They don't know what they're doing. Well, that's a good prayer, because how many times have you, if you'd have known what you were doing, wouldn't have done it, right? Well, other people are the same way. So have mercy on people, have compassion on them, love them, bless them, and you know what? You're going to see a harvest of love, blessing, and compassion come to you. Well, have a blessed day. Remember, Jesus is Lord. Thank God the Word works.